Virtuosity is Bentley's e-commerce platform that provides an easy, affordable way to purchase practitioner licenses of Bentley software, paired with expert services, training, and mentoring.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. This session will be focusing mainly on how OpenRoads Designer is the one solution for all your road design needs. We'll also be showing the advantages of using OpenRoads Designer over the other more commonly known design software. So I'm Casey, your host today. I'm a product consultant for Bentley's civil software. Together with me, I have Maylen, our product expert for the our civil software. She has a wealth of experience with our road, rail, and site design software that includes conducting numerous trainings and delivering professional services to our users in the region. She was also a practicing civil professional before she joined Bentley. So before we start, I'd like to introduce our new licensing model for all our products. In our continued effort to support the civil design community, we are now offering an affordable and flexible annual subscription called Virtuoso. This is bundled with keys, which are essentially one-to-one online training credits. Virtuosity.com is Bentley's e-commerce platform for you to buy the Virtuoso subscriptions. All our latest products are available at virtuosity.com. For every subscription purchase, a product expert is assigned to your team within a day or so. The product expert will work closely with you to understand your team's skill level and the project needs to customize the training. These experts come with rich experience working on similar projects. You have the complete flexibility to choose to renew or add license over the next 12 months, or even add more keys as your need arises. Virtuosity works like other e-commerce platform. You can simply add any number of our software of your choice into the cart, make the payment. Within 24 hours, your license is delivered and you are assigned a product expert who will work with you on the initial software setup and training. Within a week, you and your team can be equipped with the fundamental skills and design work can be up and running. This way, you can just focus on delivering the high quality professional outputs to your client. Okay, so with that, I'd like to hand over the session to Maylen. And before that, I would like to remind the audience as the session goes, as Maylen do her presentation and demo, you can type in the questions in the chat section and we'll try and answer it as the opportunity arises. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Maylen to start on her presentation. So over to you, Maylen.
Let me just share my. Okay, so okay.
Okay.
So is my screen on?
Yep, I can see your screen now.
Okay, great.
Right.
Yeah, thank you, Casey. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, I think if some of you have already attended some of our webinar series, so it's been me and Casey who's been doing quite a lot of, getting to know and even getting people encouraged as to how they can benefit from using OpenRoads Designer. Okay, and then based on the poll result a while ago. So I think we have lots of we have lots of homeworks to do in order for you to get started with OpenRoads Designer. Okay, so again, I'm Maylin. I'll be going through the presentation. Okay, and as Casey has mentioned, just feel free to type in any questions that you would like to share with us, and then we will try to address that in a while. Okay, so our agenda for today, okay, as mentioned in the invitation that we have sent to you, okay, so we'll be discussing more on these topics, okay, a little road and highway project trends and challenges, as well as a little project showcase for all those who have actually benefited already using OpenRoads Designer, and not only OpenRoads Designer, but also our other open applications. Okay, and then we'll go through the heart and soul of our discussion today as to why uh, you have to, or why you can benefit from using OpenRoads Designer. So we'll go through these points like numerous data formats, support, then tools that will allow you to create dynamic design or create dynamic design and corridor models. And then with that corridor model or 3D information model, how are you going to create a model-driven project deliverable? And then I think most of the challenges that we are facing currently is, of course, if it's a road or highway project, we are not only dealing with the road per se, we also are dealing with other disciplines as well. So how can OpenRoads Designer help you, okay, address this challenge whenever you have to engage and collaborate with other disciplines? And then, of course, it doesn't stop at you using the software. You have to also have the skills on how you can uh, get on board properly, your continuous learning experience with Bentley, specifically OpenRoads Designer, and then what are in store for you, okay, if ever you are already using it. Okay, how are you gonna develop professionally in order for you to be more marketable, not only with your current um, position or career in your current organization, but probably in your future endeavors in your engineering or design, or even the other aspects of road and highway projects. Okay, now before I start, I would like to launch a question, a poll question. Okay, so this one. So okay, so what are the issues that you are currently facing, okay, with the software that you use for design and modeling of your road project? Yeah, are you able to see the poll question? Oh, okay, okay. I see some responses already. Okay. Great. Responses are still coming in. Okay. So let's share the result. Okay. So we see that 62% of you are saying that you're having a hard time in terms of the time, okay, managing time when there are changes that are required in your project. Okay, so later on, okay, we'll try to see how OpenRoads can address that. Okay, So thank you for the responses. And then I'm going to share another poll question. Okay. So in a road transportation project, which most of you are are from, based on Casey's first poll question, what do you feel, or maybe based on your experience, is the most challenging, okay, transportation facility or object, okay, or entity, okay, when you're doing your design? Okay, so I see that intersection, tunnels, and viaducts are coming in very close. Okay, great. A few more. There. Okay, let me just share the result. So 64% of you are all having some challenge in the intersection as well as interchanges type of project. Okay, which is good because I would be showing some projects done by our users, as well as some sample demo projects that we created that has intersections as well as interchanges. Again, thank you for the responses. Okay, so moving on. Now, let's first discuss some of the trends that has been happening for the past, 30, 40 years or so. Okay, so I think depending on our age, probably you guys have um, known, of course, of the computer-aided design, be it 2D, 3D, around 70s to 90s, right? And then early 2000, we have been introduced to building information modeling, which at that time are still focused on the building infrastructure itself. So when I say building, it's the 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 vertical structures. Okay, and then with the onset of the technology, okay, machine learning, AI, AR as well, early 2020s. Some of you probably have heard about digital twin. Okay, and then currently with our experience, most of those organization that really strives hard to get their organization be digitally driven, okay, and make sure deliver their project by leveraging on the current technologies, right, nowadays are using the technology of digital twin, from where your it's a digital, okay, representation of your project, okay, either connected through the cloud, okay, or maybe leveraging on some cloud-based technology, as well as integrating it with some of your desktops, um, desktop solutions, or even your the 4D aspect of the construction deliverables. Okay, so from here we see also a trend in terms of how data, okay, or they digitally driven deliverables, okay, that we need to submit depending on the projects. Okay, and as we see these trends, okay, infrastructure projects like buildings, as well as road and rail projects, which we would refer to as linear infrastructure projects, are basically two different, okay, types of infrastructure project, from where the approach in design is very much different. Okay, so it entails different solution, okay, and different approaches. So like for instance, in a building project, most likely, okay, you will start with grids, okay, um, and then for road and rail projects, which is, again, as I said, is a linear type one, all the things that you lay out along the alignment, okay, should follow or be referenced by the station or chainages along the linear project. Okay, and then with the trend coming or with all the technologies as well as the other tools that has been uh, developing from 70s up to now. Okay, we also have to consider more or less the levels of details on how we deliver our project. So what would be the right tool, okay, that you should be using depending on the type of deliverables that you have. Okay, and also uh, if, let's say, for instance, you are only in the tender stage or construction stage or even the as-built aspect of the design, so how much level of detail do you need to create, okay, or to model, okay, your project. Okay, and with all the challenges that you have mentioned or you have shared with me through the poll question, which is, wait, what was that? A while ago. Okay, so you were telling that uh, whenever there are changes, okay, it consumes a lot of time, okay, and effort, okay. And also the second one is the lack of automation, okay, which comes in second in the poll question, and also the heaviness of the model, which basically affects or more or less synonymous or directly related to the hardware that you're using, and also the user friendliness of the software that you are using. And then with that, if you would notice, some of those challenges you're facing are all outlined here. Okay, specifically for a linear project one. Okay, of course, when you want to start a project, what data do you have is very much critical, because that's where everything should start, right? So do you have the survey data? Do you have CAD data? Do you have point cloud data? Do you have third party uh, civil formats such as land XML, etc.? Okay, and also you have to consider the existing ground scenarios, right? And the complexity of the geometries that you have to deal with. So especially if your project is along a brownfield type of area, okay? And that's where I think adapting and responding to design changes is the the main concern that most of you have this afternoon, okay, based on the poll question that we have given you. So how can uh, also a level of detail considerations that we need to deliver, okay, depending on the owner requirements, okay, project owner requirements, and so on, okay. And then actually the adapting and responding to changes sometimes becomes more, okay, challenging because of the multiple discipline coordination challenges, okay, from where you would see that technologies, maybe specifically the software that you're using, doesn't talk to each other or do not talk to each other. And then since you are in, probably, like for instance, nowadays when all of us are mostly working from home, remotely located, right? The challenge of having a centralized hub from where you save as well as download your information is also one of the main concern. And then lack of standards or inconsistencies in your workflows and processes is also quite a pain when you're dealing with multiple discipline, okay. And of course, from the lack of standards, you'd also probably be um, having some BIM, okay, consideration. When we say BIM consideration, was it set by the country or the locality that your project is in, or maybe by just the owner of the project, okay, or the one who's going to maintain it eventually, okay. And another concern, of course, is the skill set, okay, skill set of your users, and understanding, even though probably you're the project manager, you are the coordination manager, okay, it still is very important, okay, that you have the right skills in order for you to understand all these other challenges that a typical linear infrastructure project is facing. Okay, so with all these challenges, okay, I would just like to show and present some of our users who've actually benefited not only by using OpenRoads Designer, but also using the numerous, okay, solutions that we have with Bentley that also, okay, addresses the multiple discipline scenario, okay, because I've mentioned earlier, um, it's not only, okay, when you're designing a road or highway project, you're not only in the road alignment or the corridor is not in silos, okay, in terms of in terms of the sign that you're doing, okay. So like for instance, by the way, this user showcase that I'm showing you is actually coming from the Year in Infrastructure Going Digital Award submissions that we have. And then these two projects from India as well as Belgium are the finalists, okay, two of the finalists that actually used not only OpenRoads Designer, okay, if there are bridges, they use Open Bridge Designer. If there are net utilities, as well as other drainage or hydraulic calculations that has to be done along the alignment or along the model, they use Open Flows solutions from Bentley System. And then the visualization that you're actually seeing is an output, okay, coming from the information model itself, output to LumenRT Designer, okay. So just to more or less give you a very nice presentation or animation as to how the project would look like, okay, before it is built, okay. And from here, okay, on the same year, okay, this project from Chengdu, which is called Chengdu Even Expressway from China, is actually the winner, okay, of that particular Going Digital Awards, okay, for the roads and highways category. So imagine 155 kilometers long of alignment, okay, which entails 154 bridges, 39.7 kilometer long, okay, includes 4 tunnels spanning from 7.3 kilometers, okay. And the challenge here really is more into the collaboration of the different disciplines that the project had, okay, at the time of it being designed and being modeled. So OpenRoads is not the only solution that basically help deliver this kind of output. So from the conceptual modeling, they've actually used OpenRoads Concept Station. Then, of course, for the visualization that you're seeing right now is LumenRT. And then all the other, okay, design aspect for the structure or bridge structure itself, okay, is pro structures, okay. Then last year we've actually had the same Going Digital Award, although uh, this event used to be in-person event yearly or annually, okay, but since the pandemic we have been conducting it digitally, okay. So this is and I'm proud to say that this is from our, okay, region, which is Southeast Asia, submitted by PT Hutama Karya, okay, and they won the grand prize, okay, for the Going Digital Award. Okay, then the main solution that they've used here is OpenRoads Designer, okay, for the alignment and corridor design. And at some point, since this connects or this entails some bridges as well. Okay, it used Open Bridge Modeler. Okay, and then the aspect of geotechnical design, since some of the alignment would cross through some soft soils, so they have to study the geotechnical composition of the soil as well. Okay, and this is around 2,800 kilometers across the Sumatra Island. I think for those who are know what where is Indonesia or the Sumatra Island itself, right? I think you'd have an idea of how long this island is, and this project is around uh, uh, 2,800 kilometers long. Okay, and they've used, okay, our technology in order to create such output. Okay, not only for the model, of course, okay, not only for the 3D animation, but also for the other construction deliverables such as plan sheets, reports, okay, and so on. Okay, now based on those projects, okay, um, why, okay, is OpenRoads chosen as one of the or as the only, okay, road and highway design solution, okay, to deliver such kinds of projects. Okay, so for those who are new in these kinds of events of Bentley, okay, or who happen to have attended this for the first time. So just to introduce what OpenRoads Designer is. So basically, OpenRoads Designer is Bentley Systems, um, excuse me, conceptual as well as detailed design solution to create and or to design and model roadways. Actually, we're not only limited with at grade. We also can do a bridge type or a tunnel type, okay, depending on your project requirement. So additional to that, we have a tool that will allow you to create site designs. And of course, in a typical road and even site projects or land development project, you also need to do drainage and utilities modeling. So we have that tool inside the software. And then to address the hydraulic calculation, we have StormCAD. And then integrating some of your geotechnical Borlog database, we have Gain Civil Tools. And then we also have Descartes, which basically would allow you to consume raster images, reality models, point cloud data, and then of course, I think most of us would really start with the survey data, okay, be it different types coming from different instruments or different platforms, okay. So OpenRoads basically has or can support already different types of projects and different aspect of the design that you would require. And it's actually, if you would look at here, OpenRoads has the power, okay, of MicroStation as its base CAD platform, okay, and it also has OpenSite Designer. And all of these, okay, are in what we call a Connect Edition, which is basically the latest versions of all the Bentley solutions currently. Okay. Now, in summary, these are all the functions of OpenRoads Designer. Now, in this presentation of ours, we would be going through some, okay, which would more or less enlighten you on why OpenRoads Designer can be or maybe or will be the one and only solution that you would be using in order to deliver a road or highway design project. Okay, so let's go through these 5 points. Okay, first is the numerous data format. So everything starts with survey data, okay, of course. Now with OpenRoads Designer, we support numerous types, be it raw data coming from different instruments. It could also be terrain data, DTMs, TINs, okay, reality models, which is kind of new trend nowadays. Of course, any types of geometry, land XML, or even IFC geometry, okay? Different CAD formats, be it ours or third-party softwares, different models coming from third-party softwares, and of course, if you are doing like a long interchange project, toll road, right? It would help if you have some GIS as well as raster data. So we support that as well. And of course, different types of supports or database connectivity, okay? When you want to probably, if you're going through modeling networks of drainage, utilities, underground, right? Probably your data is coming from an SQL spatial database, okay, or other formats of database, so we can support that. And then outputs, you're not limited with our own format. So again, by the way, uh, OpenRoads file format is DGN, similar to MicroStation and all of our other open applications. So it's DGN. But it doesn't stop there. We also support other file formats, okay, be it desktop or even those in the cloud or even those on mobile formats. And then information model deliverables that you would need, maybe IFC models, I models, and leverage those formats to the cloud by probably using a certain digital twin platform in order for you to probably do design review or collaboration with your other uh, project stakeholders. Okay, so again, everything starts with survey. So with OpenRoads Designer, it supports different types of formats. Um, and in this example, I'm just showing you a raw data being imported. Okay, and OpenRoads has a way or a platform that allows you to automatically put symbols as well as templates or symbologies in your survey data. Okay, so we have what we call a workspace settings that allows you to customize and predefine all these settings, and then from that survey data you are able to automatically generate, okay, terrain models. So you have an option to set it to automatically create terrain models like this. And then, of course, at the first import, maybe those objects that are not supposed to be part of the triangulation, all you need to do is just remove them from the triangulation so that your terrain model, okay, would be updated. So like for instance, that part here that represents some survey points of the road, okay, and probably those that are part of, you know, drainage or culverts, okay. The processing is pretty much straightforward, okay. Once the survey data is linked and you've used the automated way of creating terrain models, you are or you'll be able to easily, okay, edit and modify the terrain model that you have. Okay, and we're not limited to this. You can also integrate point cloud data. So this is just one example from where if uh, the design probably or the survey data, then we create or generate a terrain out of it. Okay, and then if you want to see the the entire extent of your project, and you happen to have a point cloud data, and you want to merge the surveys, the terrain coming from the survey data, and then uh, combine or merge this with the point cloud data that you have, you're able to create a composite terrain model, so that more or less it gives you the full render of the project area of your road or highway project, similar to this one. So it's basically creating or merging the point cloud data as well as the survey data in one model. Okay, so let me just finish with this one so that you can see there. So you can see that the terrain has been merged, and then it looks like, let me just push this a little bit, and then look like this. There you go.
Now, the second point that I want to address is how OpenRoads can create dynamic corridors by its dynamic design and modeling tools. Now, with OpenRoads Designer, there are a lot of tools that will allow you to easily, create dynamic models. Uh, just to name a few, of course, the backbone when you're creating your model would be your alignment. Of course, templates, which depicts the cross section of your corridor model, and of course, the corridor model itself. Now, before I proceed, I would just like to give a bit of an overview of the workflow that happens whenever you're using OpenRoads Designer or any of the Open Civil Designer solutions of Bentley Systems. You'd probably go through this kind of journey from where, of course, as you can see in the first part of the presentation, from where I discuss about survey data. Okay, so we start with survey data regardless of what format it is, and we use those data in order for you to derive a terrain model. And then the the heart and soul basically of the software is creating a three-dimensional information model of corridors such as roads, be it at grade, tunnel, or even on a viaduct or bridges. Okay, so we'll go through these three items in the next presentation. Okay, but of course, we will still rely on the terrain model, especially if your model is at grade. So we'll discuss geometries, how you leverage on the parametric templates, which typically depicts the cross section of the corridor and then the corridor model itself. Now, when you are using OpenRoads Designer, there are many robust alignment or geometry creation tools that will allow you to create horizontal as well as vertical alignments. And you're not limited to that because, of course, when you're doing road design, there could be some linear elements that you have to design as well in order for you to really make your model realistic in terms of the geometries that you have to create. Like for instance, the edge of pavements, a line that depicts the curb and gutter when you look at it on the plan view, and of course maybe um, uh, boundaries of parcels or road or lots, sorry, or maybe uh, uh, points, okay, that would literally extrude to become lines, and then apply a design standard, which we usually call a super elevation. Okay, so with OpenRoads Designer, the intelligence of these geometries are well preserved because it has tools that allows you to create rules as well as associations and preserving your design intent at the very start. And although you're when you're using the tools, okay, it seems like you're doing it as if you're using as if you're using CAD commands. But then the simplicity of it, or how you create the alignment or geometries, would basically allow you, okay, to preserve your design intent, meaning to say if it's perpendicular or parallel, or even um, depends on other existing geometries or even points, okay, you'd be able to create that dynamic relationship. And all these, as I've mentioned earlier on, are saved in a DGN file. Okay, you don't need external files for you to come up and create your alignment geometry. And of course, you can export it to different formats as well. And then the most important thing is when you're doing road design, you have to make sure that you apply or invoke a design standards, especially since in different regions or countries, we apply different design standards for our roads. Like for instance, the minimum radius that is needed whenever the speed of the car or the vehicle is from a specific range, so that uh, when the road is already designed, then no accident or any other um, design problems would occur. Okay, now let's look at it in this simple video here, just to let you see how good the geometry or alignment tools of OpenRoads Designer. So once what you see here is actually geometries already laid out that represents intersection of a road with some curves or gutter lines. But basically, the red line that you see is the main alignment cross section. And then there are some offsets created, which basically depend on the center line. So notice that there are certain offset distance from the center line of the road to the edge of pavement. Okay. And then once this main alignment is moved, okay, notice how the other geometries also move together with that particular main alignment. Okay, so not just straight angle. Okay, you can drag it to a certain angle as well, but still the geometries would follow. Okay, so in this instance, um, it really preserves the rules and relationship that you have set initially when you're designing the alignment. Now it's also the same if so actually for now you're seeing it as horizontal geometry, but this kind of relationship is also possible when you're doing vertical geometries. Okay, so once your geometry is created and you've already made sure that the design intent are well preserved, you're now ready to move on designing your templates. Now the templates, for the information of those who are new with OpenRoads Designer, is basically a cross section. Okay, cross section that are composed of points and then shapes, which we call components. And then those components may be a depiction of the road pavement. In this case, as you can see here, maybe a curb, a sidewalk, and condition or daylight. Okay, so once you have already generated the template, okay, when you do the corridor modeling later on, it would literally, okay, extrude that particular section or template from a specific chainage that would follow your alignment. Okay. Now, the beauty of the templates in OpenRoads Designer is that it can make it parametric, and you can invoke certain constraints on different points so that it would really uh, uh, adjust according to the design scenarios that you have created or you want your corridor to behave. Okay, now let me go to the software so that I can show you this behavior of the template. So this is OpenRoads Designer. I have a corridor here, that a corridor sample that has some at grade, and then transitioning towards a cut and cover tunnel until it becomes a full tunnel, and again going out, cut and cover, and then at grade again. Okay, now the template that was used here, if I may just show it to you, okay, um, is actually uh, this one. Okay, so let me just show you the behavior of the template. So the cross that you see, that mostly colored red, are points, okay, that represents probably, like for instance, this green one. This is basically the center line of the road, okay, and then the rest of the figures or geometries that you see are those that represents the pavement, or maybe the end conditions or the sidewalks. Okay, and the good thing with OpenRoads Designer, let me just fit it. Okay, this points here that you see are actually, or actually tells a story, because it behaves according to some constraints, um, parametric constraints, or maybe horizontal, vertical constraints. When I say constraints, it means that the movement of these points are basically uh, um, uh, basically mapped, okay, to the behavior of another point. Okay, so if, let's say for instance, if I may just click on this point or hover this point, and then test the behavior. Okay, so this point here, if later on you want to apply a super elevation, would behave in such manner. Okay, same thing if I click this test, if I would want to know how this kind of template would do a cut and fill, okay, so I can do a test as to how it would fill or cut the road later on. So this lines that goes up and down is basically a representation of a proposed terrain, okay? And then the one that goes with it is actually the end condition or the daylighting, okay? There. And you're not limited to this kind. So if you notice here, we have quite a lot already available, but of course you can customize this. Okay, the critical thing here is just you need to just understand more or less how you apply those parameters so that the points would be intelligent enough to follow, okay, the behavior that you intend to invoke. Okay, so like for instance, this one, so this is actually the length of this D wall would basically is this walls here, okay, that dynamically follows or targets the existing ground. So if I may just show it to you, okay, so notice how it goes up and down, okay, meaning to say whenever it sees a terrain as a target, okay, it will adjust according to the height of the existing terrain. Okay, so this is one that depicts the cut and cover, and then the full box tunnel is this one. Okay, so basically, if you see here, this is that uh, tunnel. Okay, now going back to my presentation. Okay, there you go. So once you have already set up your alignment, okay, then your templates, as you saw in the sample model that I have shown you, you are now ready to create a corridor model. Now, there are lots of tools. There are lots of tools that would allow you to make sure that your corridor would realistically apply those design intents that you would like to invoke in your corridor. There are many methods available, although I don't have enough time to really go through that one by one. But we have this corridor editing tools, point controls, parametric constraint. You can even do clipping, okay, of corridors with reference to the corridors in your design, adjacent or maybe perpendicular, or anything that pass through each other. Target aliasing. So by default, the end conditions of your template would always target the existing ground. But what if you have, like, for instance, existing lines or objects or geometries that you want to target, so that before it cuts or fill the ground, it will target that first. And then, of course, super elevation. And we also have uh, um, a tool called Civil Cell, which allows you to create an automatic. This is more like an automation of creation of your corridor, although we don't have time to go through this. And then the trend nowadays is by using what we call computational design. In Bentley language, we call it generative components. So with generative components, you'd be able to do and leverage on scripting, so that um, you can create a corridor that would not only follow the available tools. So you can leverage on the visual scripting uh, that will allow you to create your corridor in a more robust way. So, like for instance, usually when you want to lay out the signages, barriers, gate, traffic signals, or traffic lights and all. So usually you would do this one by one. But with generative components or computational design, you'd be able to lay them out in automatically by just referencing a cell or a block, and then using the scripts of GC, and then lay them up in your corridor. Okay. Now, going back to the corridor creation, right? So it is important that you need to apply some design standards to your corridor. So with OpenRoads Designer, you'd be able to do this. We have the built-in by default the Ash to code, right? Now for those who are in Singapore, we have also added the Singapore design standards in the Singapore workspace. And all you need to do is just reference the alignment, uh, create a super elevation section, and then with your corridor, you just need to make sure, or with your corridor template, you just need to make sure that you know of the point. Like for instance, on what you see here, you know of the point that needs to super elevate whenever there's an approaching curb, full curb, and so on. Okay, so this is one output. Okay, this is the same as the corridor model that I've shown you. It's just that uh, I'm running an animation of the corridor, so that you can basically see how the super elevation is applied in the tunnel corridor. Now, I want to show you some other samples I have prepared here. So, samples of corridors. Okay, so this is a sample of a simple road that has T-junction, an intersection as well. Okay, and then it also referenced a pedestrian bridge, which was actually modeled using Open Buildings Designer. And if you look at the model here, the model or the corridor has pavement markings already. Okay, and then some guardrails. Okay, then if you notice at this portion of the corridor, we also have, um, as we will discuss later on, um, drainage network. Okay, there you go. So this is like a dual or dual lane type or carriageway. Mhm. Now another samples I want you guys to see is this one. This one is actually a mock or what do you call this? It's a mock project that we have created, integrating the corridor model with Open Bridge modeler or designer. So the bridge deck that you see here is actually modeled from Open Bridge modeler. And then the corridor, of course, created from OpenRoads Designer and so on. So as you can see here, you're not really limited with upgrade type. You can do tunnel, you can do upgrade, you can also have it integrated with some other models like bridge. And in the case of the previous one, you can by making sure that everything are geo-coordinated. Okay, every model that you can see that you create can be placed in its right position or location there. Yeah. And then with open roads having site modeling tools, you're also able to create uh, or do land development or site development types of projects like what you see here as an example. So this is actually an integration of a rail corridor with a commercial building here, and then site project or site uh, pad also created, and then parcels being subdivided by open roads, and then also again adding a building. Okay, and if you notice here, um, when the site was created, okay, it actually has through cut or fill of the existing ground or the proposed with reference to the existing ground. So as you can see here, OpenRoads Designer is really a complete package or a complete tool that can let you create as many types of road design projects or roads or highway projects, even site projects, and integrate it with other disciplines as well. Okay, now moving on to the third point, which is flexible model-driven project deliverables. So with OpenRoads Designer, there are quite a lot, okay, of types of project deliverables you can create. Now, it's a common knowledge that any civil design software could output or should output in should output plan profile and cross section. So that's a given for OpenRoads Designer. But the advantage of OpenRoads Designer is that it really gets, okay, the live extraction of your corridor, be it plan, profile, or cross section. I'll go through that in a while later on. And then other types of model driven deliverables are your reports, and you can output it in different formats used for construction stakeouts or any machine readable equipments or database. And then, of course, you can also leverage on the cloud-based technology. Specifically within Benti, we have what we call the iTwin hub. You can output your model so that you can do a design review that uh, leverages on the cloud-based type of workflow. Okay. I'll discuss that more later. So in the deliverables, there are so many types of reports that you can create or you can extract from your model, geometry reports, corridor quantities, of course, your terrain reports, volumes report, and so on. Okay, so this is one example of how volumes are extracted live from the corridor model that you create. Okay, so this one is just showing you the straightforward component quantities based on the corridor templates that you use. You can, since it's dynamic, so automatic volumes are calculated. You can assign cost as well, and so that you can more or less know how much the project, okay, or the corridor would cost, and then generate a report, a detailed one, okay, based on the components of your uh, corridor model. Then you can export this to Excel or even Word file or even just plain HTML so that you can share it to the right or to the respective stakeholders. Okay, there, there you go. Now, as for the drawing production, which is one of the strength of OpenRoads Designer, you're able to create a plan, profile, as well as cross sections. Okay. And it's a live connection. I mean, the sheets are live, are connected live, okay, from the model itself. Okay. And with the latest version, you'd be able to or you are able to do or leverage on the latest annotation or automated annotation tools. Then we have this tool called Civil Labeler. And we also have cross-section navigator and then some other annotation or more customized type of annotation for slope signatures. And then as you are seeing here in the sample video here, it's doing a 3D cut, okay, for the long section that runs along the horizontal alignment and then showing it in vertical alignment. Cutting, in specific, cutting the bridge, okay, the bridge which is actually coming from Open Bridge this modeler, okay. It's another software of Bentid which is which can or specifically use whenever you're creating bridge or bridges. Okay, detailed modeling of bridges. Okay, and of course, not to mention all the other improved profile annotation tools available in the software. And um, the annotations are all live extraction of the civil properties coming from the corridor model. Okay. Then of course, this in any civil or in 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 OpenRoads Designer, one of its strength is its ability to really create a design time visualization. So the model that you're creating is already a visualization in itself. Okay, like what you're seeing here on the left side. You can do drive-through, you can do navigation, walk-through, fly-through, okay? And with your license of OpenRoads Designer, you're also able to use Bentley Lumen RT. So with Lumen RT, you're able to create a nice visualization like what you're seeing here in the screen. Okay, and you can do traffic animation as well and adjust the lighting. When you say traffic animation, you can add cars, you can depict as well how the cars move or run along the design corridor that you created. You can even add vegetation, you can adjust the time of the day, you can add animals, you can add people, you can change the season, okay? season in a particular, since everything are geo coordinated. Okay, when I say geo coordinated, the project is, or the project that you create can be assigned with coordinate system. So since it has coordinate system, when you're adjusting the season, okay, or the time of the day in Luminarty, it would really depict, okay, what is the weather, okay, or the season in that particular location. You can create VR panoramic outputs such as this, so that you can leverage on using your Oculus, some of your Oculus Rift, and then create large scenes with ease, okay, integrating other types of models as well, which you can all do inside Luminarty. Okay. Now, fourth point I want to discuss is OpenRoads strength in terms of supporting multiple discipline integration or collaboration. From within OpenRoads itself, okay, you don't need to go out of the software. You can do geotechnical, or you can integrate geotechnical data. You can utilize different GIS or mapping data. As you saw in the earlier part, we've used point cloud data, but you can also use GIS formats and raster images. Then, of course, in any road or highway project, you also have to add drainages and utilities, be it underground or above. Okay, but the strength of OpenRoads Designer is that it creates, or you're able to create networks of drainages and utilities that are dynamically, that can be dynamically linked through your alignment. You can offset it with your alignment. You can reference the terrain or the surface of the corridor that you have created, so that the elevation of the drainage would follow that particular surface of the corridor. And then with its integration with some of our open flows tools, which basically addresses your hydraulic or hydrology calculation, you'd be able to do analysis of your drainage and sanitary drainage network. Okay, because OpenRoads in itself has the full function of storm CAD. Okay, but then you can also by adding some licenses from within OpenRoads Designer, you can trigger sewer CAD functions, sewer gems functions, civil storm functions. Okay, and then of course, um, you don't I mean, when you're creating a road or highway project, you really have to more or less collaborate with other softwares. Okay, from within Bentley Systems, it's very simple seamless, because we have building software, we have bridge software, we have plant softwares. So, and all of these are in DGN formats. So by simple referencing, you'll be able to collaborate with those different models. Now, we are not limiting you to our solution. You can also integrate with other third-party civil design or even CAD or even BIM platforms. And if you want to leverage on a cloud-based technology of producing a digital twin of your project, we also have the iTwin synchronizer that allows you to publish the model you create in OpenRoads Designer to the iTwin hub. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go through this quickly. Uh, I mentioned about geotechnical data integration. You can connect your geotechnical database, create a 3D depiction of your bore log data, create fence diagrams, generate bore log reports, and then even create subsurface strata. Basically, because of its geotechnical workflow support. And then again, drainage utilities, lay out drainages and subsurface utilities by using the drainage and utilities tools in OpenRoads Designer, be it nodes or conduits. When I say nodes, these are your inlets, manholes, okay? Conduits are your pipes. And then do calculation by using the hydraulics functionality for storm and sanitary networks using maybe rational method or unsteady state type of calculation. And then, as I've mentioned, from within OpenRoads Designer, just top up some license, okay, you'd be able to trigger also this open flows solutions of ours. Okay. And what makes Bentley good or OpenRoads Designer work well with our other open solutions, okay, is uh, it's or having DGN as its uh, common file format. Okay, so regardless of what type of software from within Bentley system, everything are in DGN. Unlike in other packages, the civil software is of this format, and then the building software is of this format. So that's why there's they don't see eye to eye in terms of the collaboration that they have to do. Okay, and having said that, federation of your files is as easy as referencing. And if, let's say, for instance, you created a road or highway corridor and it has to reference some buildings along the alignment or along the corridor, then all you need to do is just reference them. Or probably you're connected to a site or land development project, you're able to reference that by just getting it referenced inside OpenRoads Designer and so on. Okay, but of course, as we mentioned, we don't only support our own format. You can also we can reference other formats like DWG. Um, we can also reference IFC. Okay, um, import civil or convert your civil design formats in land XML into OpenRoads Designer, and then in a if your workflow, okay, entails for you to do some collaboration from or maybe output it into third party uh, what do you call this um, design review or maybe collaboration format, we also support IFC. Okay. This is similar to the first, I think, first few slides that I've shown you. Okay, from CAD to BIM to digital twin. So with OpenRoads Designer, you are able, okay, to leverage on the digital twin technology because from within OpenRoads Designer, you're able to output, okay, the ORD model to the iTwin hub, okay, and then use the iTwin design review for you to examine the model, measure, do some measurement, view the reports, view the cross section, view the long profile or long sections, okay, by synchronizing the model using the iTwin synchronizer, okay, and the design or the iTwin design review is basically a tool that gives you flexibility to conduct various types of review workflow. So it could be from within your team, it could be a work in progress type of collaboration to a project level or multidiscipline coordination. What's good about this, it's leveraging on the cloud-based technology because it's web-based. You don't have to install a desktop solution to be able to do a design review of your OpenRoads model. And everything can be synchronized so that you are getting the real time, okay, version of your model. You can review in 3D, you can review in 2D, you can create and even assign issues, you can track versions. um, when you're doing your design review. So in just a quick show of how this iTwin synchronizer is used to output your ORD model to the iTwin hub. So what you're seeing is actually iTwin synchronizer inside OpenRoads Designer. And then you just need to make sure that you establish a connection to your iTwin hub, or your, it's more like your project hub, okay, and make sure that you add, okay, the open roads model that you have created. And then from there, so once you have actually synchronized it, okay, um, okay, let's see the next step. Okay, so in this case, we've already established the connection to the iTwin hub. Okay, and then once this is done, you just go to your browser. Of course, use your login credential in order for you to log into the iTwin design review. Okay, and then from there, you can look at the model that was published from OpenRoads Designer. Okay, so let's look at it in 3D by opening the iModel that was published from OpenRoads Designer. So if you can see here, this is the exact model that you have actually created from OpenRoads Designer. And then from within the iTwin Design Review, you're able to see the civil properties of your models itself. Right, so in this case, viewing the corridor alignments, horizontal and vertical, looking at information as to how cross section would look like in that particular location that you have selected. So let's just turn on the corridor so that you can see the cross section. Okay. So incidentally, that's a bridge segment or cross section. But if it's on the part of the road itself, then all you need to do is just literally drag onto the uh, cross section marker. Okay. Further to that, you can also change the views, or change the display views or render of your model so that it exactly looks like the model that you have created in OpenRoads Designer. You can measure, you can extract dynamic information, like for instance, XYZ of a particular point or location, and then also generate a station offset. Okay, so let's say, for instance, from a specific alignment reference, you would like to get the distance, okay, uh, from that particular alignment, in this case, the center line of the road, and then a specific offset outside of the corridor. So you see here, there's a station as well as the distance that is being shown in the tooltip as well as in this GUI here. Okay, now let me just push this further so that uh, we can see more information. So cross sections that you see are almost the same as the interface, how you see it in OpenRoads Designer. But of course, this is for design review only. You can extract measurements, different information, but you cannot really change the model because this is solely for design review only. Okay. And let me just push it a little more further. Okay. Uh, I've mentioned about seeing even the long section. Okay, as well as the reports. You can generate reports based on this uh, alignment, okay, be it horizontal or vertical alignment report. Okay, so let me just add that report. Okay, Mm, okay, there. So once I have already selected the type of report I want to see, and then there you go. So in the advantages of this is that you don't have to go back to OpenRoads Designer to just uh, to be able to verify if the alignment, okay, is really as as it needs to be by design. Okay, so all you need to do is just run the alignment report or the report itself from within the design review interface. Okay, and another thing, you can issue you can create issues, okay, so that it can be resolved at any time, because basically you can assign it to a particular team member, and then let them know of maybe a design discrepancy that you want to address, and then they can go back to OpenRoads Designer and then uh, modify the design and then resynchronize or synchronize it back again to the iTwin uh, design review. Okay, so once it has already been reviewed, they can, let me just push it further. They can now approve, okay, whatever that issue is, and then move on to uh, the next steps of probably, okay, generating your plan production, and then and then do some other collaboration from within the other stakeholders of the project. Okay, so in summary, okay, with regards to the iTwin, okay, from within OpenRoads Designer, you can synchronize the model, okay, or output the model to the iTwin design review, do your usual checking, uh, report generation, or even creating the issues, and then letting your team members know of these issues, and then push it back to the designer so that he can modify it back to the OpenRoads Designer and then republish it back to the iTwin design review. Okay. Now, to address the need to maybe follow some authorities' file format preferences. So from within the iTwin Hub, you're able to export your models to these types of IFC versions or formats. Okay. There. Now, last point that I want to discuss is how OpenRoads how from within OpenRoads Designer and even from within Bentley's resources, you'd be able to do a continuous professional development. So with OpenRoads Designer, or for you to get on board in OpenRoads Designer, we have quite a lot of on-demand live training sessions in our Learn server. So we call it Learn server, but basically the website is learn.bentley.com. Okay, so from there, depending on your skills or maybe the level of knowledge that you have in OpenRoads, be it beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So we have some dedicated or good learning paths for you to use. Okay, you can also go through our channel partners so that you can uh, train. Okay, and then uh, new to the Bentley realm is the education.bentley.com. These are resources for students and educators, which are free for them to basically use and then learn the software. And we've got quite a lot of resources as well, which are free for you to use. From within the software, you can launch what we call the Connect Advisor, so that from within that interface, you're able to ask questions, and then this will give you a link to some of our online, okay, or offline resources. It could be linked to Bentley communities, or even some links to updated or archived webinars, SIGs, or coffee corners. And of course, we have our OpenRoads YouTube channel, which we always update. There are good resources there available for you to have your self-learning, okay, and get you really be on board in using OpenRoads Designer. Now, we have a program which is called user accreditation that allows you to become an Open Roads accredited civil user. So you can get yourselves accredited by using or by accessing it from the Learn server as well. And currently, the accreditation is a basic road design modeling, and just go through it by enrolling, and then they will give you like uh, go through some topics, and then it will ask you to do some exercises or submit some models or create some model based on the project scenarios that are created in the from within the program. Okay, and then currently, as offered to our 8365 or enterprise users, we have the Premier Scholar OpenRoads Designer. So for now, it's only for OpenRoads Designer, and currently only for E365 users. So this is like a badge that gives you really a very prestigious access, or a title that allows you to get early access to softwares, to different events, okay? And then I think they also send out some gifts for you if you get the Premier Scholar badge, okay? So in summary, um, with OpenRoads Designer, okay, you'd be able to really access numerous data formats, create dynamic and intelligent corridor models by using its dynamic civil design and modeling tools. Upon creating this dynamic model, you can create flexible model-driven project deliverables such as drawing production, even animation, reports, volume quantities, and so on. Then with OpenRoads Designer, without going out of the software, you'd already have the capability of integrating with different discipline formats, models, or workflows. Okay, and leveraging on other solutions from within, or even third-party solution, you or OpenRoads Designer makes it easy for you to really do a collaboration with other discipline. And leveraging on the iTwin, okay, iTwin design review tools that we have, you are also able to output the corridor or the open roads model that you create for design review workflow from within your project or from within your teams, or even the project level type of design review. And of course, um, we don't stop from learning the software, okay, and using the software. We make sure that your learning and using of OpenRoads Designer is a continuous journey, making sure that you'd be using the software in an optimized manner. Okay, and as I shown you earlier on, with all the samples that we have from our users. Okay, so we would like to invite you as well, to get started with using OpenRoads Designer. And who knows, you could be one of those finalists or even winner of the Going Digital Awards for roads and highways category of uh, year in infrastructure award, which this year, coming soon, 2022, we will announce it soon to you, uh, so that you'd know the when it is. And if, let's say, for instance, in your organization, you're already benefiting from using OpenRoads Designer, just let us know if you're interested on sending or um, sending or giving or sending your entries, and we can help you as well in how you can go about the submission. Okay, now lastly, coming very soon, we will be having some follow-up webinars very, very soon, and we'll inform you on that. We will have a series of webinars focused solely on the technical side of really using OpenRoads Designer. So we do hope to see you again very soon, and we will invite you as soon as we get our fix the dates for this mini webinar series. Okay, so with that, I would like to thank every one of you for allotting your time with us. And if you have any questions, technical questions related to the presentation that you see today, kindly just email me. You can email me to this email account, and then let's get in touch. Thank you. Have a nice day.